What is going on, everybody? My name is Nick, and I want to welcome you back to the first, actual, legitimate, real video that I'm making since I got back from KCON. I just landed back in Louisville 3 hours ago, and I'm immediately back into making videos. And the first one is going to be a recap of, or the first two, I should say, because we're going to break this up into 2 different videos, just because it's going to turn into quite a long little ramble here. About the entire weekend. And I had intended, of course, as you probably know, I'd intended on vlogging. I brought a camera, I brought all the stuff that I got for it to do it, and I didn't vlog anything. I mean, in fact, I didn't even post anything on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, for basically the entire weekend. And I apologize about that, but we'll definitely kind of talk about this coming up when I talk about what happened on day 1, which is Thursday check-in. So Thursday on check-in day, my flight landed at about 10 a.m. in Orange County. I went from there to the convention center, where I essentially stood in line for 7 whole hours. We were outside for most of that time. It was miserable, god awful. Literally, hands down, the worst experience at KCON every single year, without fail, is registration or check-in to get your wristbands and benefits. I don't understand how they can't do it, how they've done it for 5 years and they still cannot, properly figure out a way to handle the thousands of people that are going to be showing up to get their, the things that they paid a lot of money for. But apparently, I don't know, this must be everybody's first time running a convention or doing this KCON thing, and they have no idea how to do it. So that was really, really, really terrible and frustrating, and legitimately the only really bad thing, the only bad thing about KCON in general was just check-in to get your shit. It was terrible. Absolutely god awful. I was there from just before noon, and I ended up leaving Staples Center or the convention center just after 6. So yeah, that was really, really awesome. I spent a little bit of that time, kind of running, not really running around, but going around to get a convention pass, the convention badge, one of those blue badges, because on Friday I had interviews set up with some of the indie groups that were going to be there. So I guess technically the first half an hour or something like that I was there, I wasn't really in line, but I was still, there, and whatever. It's just the way it goes. The lines didn't move though, and that's the thing that's important. They didn't go anywhere basically, and that entire thing really, really sucks. So I left there. I was pissed. I don't even know how I felt. It was just kind of in a daze. I hadn't eaten for 12 hours. Because I ended up eating, because my flight was from Louisville to Chicago, then to Chicago to Orange County. I ate in Chicago at 7 a.m. And so, so I basically didn't eat for 12 hours, which is cool. Definitely don't appreciate that. But, that's the way it goes. So that was day 0, I guess you can say, or day 1 or whatever. But the next day, of course, is Friday. Friday's a half day for the convention. Not much to do there, except Friday was when my interviews were supposed to happen. At 12:15, I was supposed to have interviews with the 4 indie groups that we had. I had interviews lined up with Love X Stereo, the Dead Buttons, Sultan of the Disco, and Elefant, who opened up the show on Saturday night. And I show up a little bit early, and the people who are, doing the lighting and the sound and whatever are just pissed off, and they're all super angry because of the power situation to power the lighting and the audio for for that convention stage. They were trying to do sound check, and they were having problems powering everything that they needed to have powered. And sound check ended up getting delayed, and my interviews ended up getting delayed by about an hour. So that was pretty frustrating. I had somebody with me to kind of help me with the camera and set all the whole thing up, and I just had to do it myself, which honestly, considering I did it by myself and it was kind of a mess and disorganized and just a less than ideal situation, I think that everything turned out okay. It definitely could be better next time. It will my next time I have any sort of interviews, they will definitely be much better. I'll be more prepared for, as far as like equipment and setup wise to record them, and that's cool. It's great. That entire process took basically the entire day, and it was very, very frustrating. And then after that, it's like I basically didn't really have anything to do so much. And, and the side effect, of course, of me not being particularly active and involved in the K-pop community on YouTube means that I did not really have anything or anybody to go do anything with Friday night like I wanted to. But, of course, I was kind of hanging around some people, they were making plans and they were like, we're going out. And then they invited me to go and we went out to K-Town. It was cool. It was great. I had something to do. Definitely cannot complain about that. But on one hand, I think that Friday was or at least in the moment, right? I woke up Saturday morning and I was like, Friday kind of sucked. But on the other hand, I did get to interview Sultan of the Disco, Dead Buttons, and Elefant. I actually got to talk to those guys. They're pretty cool. And they had some pretty awesome things to say, or things that I thought were very interesting. And so ultimately, getting past the point where like, the disorganization of the interview process and just the unfortunate circumstances that they were dealing with, and whatever else that was, going on Friday, getting past all that, ultimately Friday was a really, really, really awesome day. It was fantastic. So day 3, Saturday, of course, I'm waiting for this convention because I gotta, I'm just hanging around. I'm there early because I'm waking up in like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. just because of the time difference. But I'm hanging out at the convention center, and there's this older guy who to say that he is old enough to be my dad, I think is saying that he's super young. He's probably old enough to be like my grandfather, but like maybe a little bit younger. I don't specifically know, but he definitely was not like the age demographic that you would think is someone you would see at KCON. But I talked to him, and he was like, I'm at the the convention and stuff, and then, so I ended up asking him, it's like, what got you into K-pop? Because it's an interesting kind of thing, right? He's not that demographic. He's not my age. He's not your age. He's a completely different kind of person, and ultimately he was like he was there to see G-Friend, which I thought was really cool. And the reason why, which is something that I've seen people post and stuff on Reddit about how K-pop kind of helped them with their depression and stuff like that. And I think that that's cool. But and this guy is kind of a story, personal sort of connection to their life and the struggle in their life in a way, where he kind of really related to G-Friend. And last year when they had those performances on the stage where they kind of fell down like multiple times during the performance, he was saying like with it kind of reflected him in his life, where you fall down and you have to get back up again and just continue on with what you're doing. So he said like, I have that personal sort of connection to that. And I thought that was really, really, really awesome. I thought that was cool. That was definitely awesome. Like, you don't hearing that somebody has a personal sort of connection to a group like that, I think is really awesome. And honestly, I think that the members or people associated with the members of that group will be very, very happy and surprised and interested to hear why this guy became a fan. So that was definitely probably the most interesting part of Saturday. Panels, I went to the K-pop fan to K-pop professional, the Korean skincare panel, because I like watching that stuff. It's not anything that I personally would like use knowledge of, but I like watching that. I specifically like one person's who was on that panel. I think she was only like the only YouTuber on the panel, but there was that. And that panel right there was the one that I actually was the only one that I really kind of enjoyed. Also, I was at the K-pop YouTuber panel with Dre and all the the more popular people, I guess. I don't know. I can't really say that you could really kind of rank anybody, but I guess technically you can. But the Korean skincare one was the only one that I kind of actually enjoyed, because everything else is kind of stuff that I kind of vaguely, faintly know and I'm familiar with. So it wasn't like I was learning anything new or being exposed to something I haven't been exposed to before. Not to mention, I don't know, but that was great. So the final day of the convention, Sunday, I basically just went to panels all day. I was at the rap survival show panel where the guys talked about Show Me the Money in Korean hip hop and stuff, which was very, 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 very cool. It was very awesome. I guess I learned a lot with that one. It definitely gave me, a different sort of perspective and view on stuff. That was really awesome. Definitely my favorite panel of the entire weekend, just because it's something that was completely different and foreign to me, and hearing people like actually, really talk about it. And then there was the Western media with Kofis, whatever panel, which was, again, interesting and fun to see, these journalists who went to Korea for, on like a government program to bring Western media in, or foreign media in, and kind of give them an experience and tour of Korea and Korean culture and stuff like that. It was really, really kind of cool to just to hear them tell us how that went. And it was really, really cool. The one thing that I would say over the entire weekend that I did wrong, which kind of made Saturday one of, a day that doesn't really specifically stand out to me as an awesome day, other than meeting the one person, the one, I guess you can say he's a fan of my videos. He's watched some of my videos before. But the thing is that, like, Sunday was awesome because I went to panels that I probably wouldn't have otherwise. Like, I wouldn't have gone to, that rap survival panel, because hip hop and rap and Show Me the Money and Unpretty Rap Star have no appeal to me. Like, I don't particularly care so much. But I did, was exposed to something different. I got some good information out of it, and I got a different, I guess, knowledge set. And that's something that I think that I will need to do next year, is like avoid that, like the K-pop fan, the K-pop professional panel, because it's like the people talking on it, I already know you, I already know what you do, or I kind of have a general idea of how you got there and stuff like that. Don't need to hear it. It's not really anything that's super interesting to me. The K-pop YouTube panel, I already do that. I don't need to hear, talk about, how long does it take you to edit your videos? Do you have any advice for new YouTubers? Do you have, stuff like that? I don't need it. It's not anything, new and interesting and pertinent to me. It's just stuff I already know. So, next year, definitely I'm going to be going to more panels that you wouldn't think I'd go to, stuff that might not have any interest to me, things that don't apply directly to what I'm doing on YouTube. It's just going to be like, I'm going to go and we're going to be exposed to much more, stuff and things about other topics of Korean culture and stuff like that, which is going to be really, really interesting. Like, I really, really enjoyed, like I said, going to that Korean skincare panel, and I don't know why. It's like, to a certain extent, none of the stuff that was talked about and covered in that panel is going to be stuff that I use. None of the knowledge really is going to be something that I use, but it was very, very interesting to just be there and hear, just experience that whole panel and that conversation that was had at the panel. It was really, really awesome. So, overall, the convention was a really, really, really great experience, even though standing in line really sucked. But everything, once I'd stood in line and got my wristbands to get into the convention, even though I didn't really need it because I ended up getting a convention badge, it all came together, and it was probably, at least for me, one of the best KCON conventions that I've been to. Some really, really awesome panels, awesome stuff. So that is it. About 15 minutes or 14 minutes or so of talking about the convention, which is why I'm making 2 videos, because the next one that I'm going to record is going to be about the concerts on Saturday and Sunday night. And yes, so I'm going to finish this video here talking about the convention, and we're going to move on to the concert itself. So if you have not watched that already, then you definitely should go watch it right now as soon as we're finished, because we're going to finish this video right now. So, as always, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.